The crew of the Nomad sat in stunned silence. Earth's signal had changed everything. Until now, they believed they were alone, abandoned, drifting toward death in a part of space no one dared to enter. But now, Earth had spoken. Reyna stared at the blinking message. "Do not surrender." "We are coming," Park whispered. "What does it mean? We don't have fleets out this far." "Do we?" Reyna shook her head. "Not officially." Lyra looked over. "Then maybe it's not official." Across the galaxy, rumors had always existed. Tales of secret ships, black projects, vessels that didn't appear on any record. Most thought they were lies. Ghost stories for bored soldiers. Now, those stories felt real. Back in the lab, Malik was still analyzing the alien signal. The black box had started to pulse. Each beat felt like a heart, a countdown. "These things," Malik said, pointing to the alien fleet on the screen, "they fear something. I think that's why they haven't attacked. Something about us, maybe something on this ship, is keeping them from moving." Reyna's voice was calm but steady. "Then we hold this line until Earth arrives." Just then, the sensors picked up the movement. Far beyond the alien fleet, a new object, fast, very fast. "Contact," Park shouted. "Something's entering the sector, multiple heat signatures. I think it's human." Lyra confirmed it. "Military drives, stealth class. It's a fleet, a hidden fleet." The Nomad's screen flickered and changed. A new signal was broadcasting. Crisp, clear, terrifyingly calm. "This is Commander Juno of the Black Sun. Earth has not been idle. You are not alone. Prepare for extraction." Reyna felt her chest tighten. She had heard that name before. Black Sun. A fleet so secret even High Command barely mentioned it. Built in deep space. Trained for war no one wanted to admit was coming. Park asked, "Are they real?" Reyna smiled. "They are now." Suddenly, the enemy ships reacted. For the first time, they moved, backward, slowly retreating. The appearance of the Black Sun had changed the field. The galaxy had always thought of Earth as the stubborn diplomats, the ones who begged for peace, who chose patience over war. Now the truth began to show. Humanity had prepared for the worst, and the worst had come. The Black Sun fleet moved into position like shadows. Their ships were sleek, sharp, black as space itself. But beneath that design lay weapons the galaxy had never seen. Iris spoke. "Target lock complete. Commander Juno requests authorization from Nomad Captain." Reyna didn't hesitate. Authorization granted. In the next second, the silence ended. The Black Sun fired. Energy beams so precise they sliced enemy vessels in half. No explosions, no sound, just clean, terrifying power. Within minutes, half of the enemy fleet was gone. The rest began to scatter. Malik watched in awe. "We just turned the hunters into prey." The alien voice returned, broken and confused. "You should not have power. You were—" Silence. Reyna responded coldly. "You forgot something. We listened during peace, but we trained for war." The enemy vanished into the darkness, retreating into the void. The sector was safe. For now, Reyna looked at the fleet surrounding them. Humanity had changed. The galaxy would never see them the same way again, and in deep space, the Black Sun began to hunt. The stars were quiet again. But this silence was different. It wasn't the cold emptiness of fear. It was the silence that came after victory. The calm before the next storm. The Nomad floated at the edge of Sector 9, surrounded by the surviving ships of the secret fleet known only as the Black Sun. Lights blinked slowly on their hulls, scanning for any trace of the alien enemy that had fled. Reyna stood on the bridge, watching. She had thought Earth was alone, that humanity had been forgotten. But now she understood. Earth had never stopped watching, and they had prepared for this moment in the shadows. Commander Juno appeared on the main screen. "The enemy has retreated," she said, her voice sharp but calm. "But they will return. They always do." Reyna nodded. "And we'll be ready." Across the galaxy, the message spread like wildfire. Rumors turned into reports. Reports turned into fear. And fear turned into something worse: respect. The same species that once begged the Council for peace had now forced an ancient enemy to retreat. No one could ignore that. No one could stop talking about it. In the Galactic Council chamber, chaos ruled. The delegates argued over what to do. Some wanted to apologize. Others wanted to contain Earth. But none of them could agree on one thing. How had humanity built a ghost fleet so powerful? And no one noticed. Behind closed doors, some whispered that Earth had deceived them. Others believed Earth had evolved, past diplomacy, past weakness. In the dark, the enemy, the one that had silenced Sector 9, gathered once more. Its commanders hissed at one another in confusion. They were weak. They begged. They pleaded. "They changed," another replied. "Now they strike from the shadows. What do we do?" There was no answer. Even the enemy feared what Earth had become. Back on the Nomad, repairs continued. The crew worked quietly, each person changed by what they'd witnessed. Lyra walked beside Reyna and looked out at the stars. "We survived," she said. Reyna nodded. "Barely. But now they know who we are." Park joined them. "So, what happens?" "Next," Reyna's voice was steady. "Next," she said, "we stop waiting. No more silence. No more hiding. The galaxy left us behind," she continued. "Now we'll remind them why that was a mistake." A new transmission was prepared. It would be sent to every planet, every station, every fleet. Reyna spoke the words herself. "Humanity is no longer begging for peace. If you seek war, we will answer it. If you bring silence, we will break it. Sector 9 is no longer lost. Earth remembers, and Earth is watching." The message was sent. In distant systems, alien leaders paused as the words echoed. Some felt fear. Others felt awe. But all of them now understood. The silence between the stars had ended. And from that silence, humanity had risen. The crew of the Nomad didn't sleep that night. Even after the power came back and the strange shadow vanished into the deep dark, the memory of it stayed like ice in their veins. No one could explain what they had seen. No one dared to say it out loud, but everyone felt the same thing. They had been watched, not scanned. Watched. On the bridge, Commander Reyna Cole sat alone, reviewing the logs over and over. There was no recording of the shadow, no data, no trace, except for the message carved inside the ship. "We are not alone. They wait in the quiet." "Iris," Reyna said, "run a deep scan on that carving." The AI's voice returned, cold and steady. "Material shows unknown energy signature, not human, not recorded in Galactic Council databases." Reyna frowned. So it wasn't just a warning. It was a message, and we were meant to find it. Down in engineering, Malik was running scans of the ship's systems. That's when he saw it. Something small, something strange, a tiny signal, almost too quiet to notice. It wasn't random noise. It was repeating, a pattern. He called Reyna. She joined him quickly. They both listened. The signal repeated every 20 seconds. A soft tone, followed by 2 pulses. Then, silence. Park, now working comms, matched it to old human signals. It's not ours, but it's close. Someone, or something, is using our communication structure. Reyna leaned forward. Try to trace it. It's not coming from outside, Park said slowly. It's coming from inside the Nomad. The Kabutu air grew still. Reyna gave the order. Search the ship. Again. Full sweep. The team split up in pairs, weapons ready. The corridors were quiet. Too quiet. No sounds of machinery. Even Iris had gone silent. Only the soft hum of the Nomad's life support kept the silence from crushing them completely. In the storage bay, Ensign Lyra and Specialist Tovin found something. A black box. Not part of the Nomad. Not built by humans. It was hidden behind a wall panel barely bigger than a helmet. Cold to the touch. No lights, no buttons. But it pulsed. When they touched it, it gave off a low hum, almost like a whisper. They brought it to the bridge. Reyna stared at it. Can we open it? No. Seams, no controls. No power source, Malik said. Then it activated on its own. A low sound filled the bridge, like wind blowing through a metal tunnel. Then words. Not in a known language, but somehow they understood. They are coming. They seek the minds that listen. They seek the fire that moves. Everyone froze. The message repeated once. Then the box turned dark again. Reyna stood slowly. That wasn't a warning. That was a test. A message meant only for us. They know we're here. Park looked up from his screen. Commander. Long range. Sensors just picked up a signal. Not from the Council, not from any known race. A fleet is coming. How many? Reyna asked. Park swallowed. Hundreds. No ID, just moving. Directly toward our position. The bridge went silent. Reyna looked at the stars on the screen. They waited in silence. She whispered, Now. They move in the open. And far. Out in the black, something ancient had awakened, and it was headed for the Nomad. The alarms rang across the Nomad. Reyna stood on the bridge, staring at the approaching fleet. Hundreds of unknown ships, all moving silently, like ghosts sliding. Through space, no flags, no signals, just movement, cold, steady, and direct. They're not broadcasting anything, Park said, hands shaking over the console. No communication, no response to our scans. How long until they reach us? Reyna asked. 3 hours, maybe less. The crew stayed quiet. Everyone on board felt the same thing. This wasn't a random encounter. This was something else. Something ancient. Something watching. Reyna turned to her team. Prepare the ship. We're not running. We need to know who or what is behind this. Below deck in the lab, Malik was still studying the black box. It hadn't activated again, but its surface now glowed faintly. Strange symbols appeared. Shifting. Like smoke across metal. I think it's reacting to them, he said over the comms. It's some kind of trigger. Maybe a warning system. Reyna ordered a live feed from the long-range cameras. As the images came in, the bridge crew leaned closer. The ships looked unlike anything known. Their hulls were jagged, dark, as if made from broken pieces of ancient vessels. But they weren't damaged. They were designed that way, built to look terrifying. They're warships, Reyna said, her voice low. Lyra added, But I don't see weapons. Maybe they don't need any, Park whispered. Reyna stood up straighter. I don't believe that. Everything has a weakness. We just need to find it. As the enemy fleet moved closer, the Nomad detected something new. One of the enemy ships split off from the main group. It was heading straight for them. Fast. They're sending something, Malik said. A drone. A scout. No, Reyna replied. A message. The alien ship stopped just 10 kilometers away from the Nomad. It didn't fire. It didn't move. Then the Nomad's lights flickered. Iris, the AI, spoke, but in a voice that wasn't hers. Your kind listens too deeply. Your fire burns too hot. The stars had peace. You bring noise. Reyna clenched her fists. Who are you? The voice answered, slow and cold. We are the silence between. You woke the deep. The message ended. All power on the Nomad shut off for 60 seconds. No lights, no gravity, no sounds. When power returned, the alien ship was gone. But the rest of the fleet had stopped too. Then, a second signal arrived, but this one didn't come from the enemy. It came from Earth. It was coded, military level, old but strong. Reyna opened it. A single sentence blinked on her screen. Do not surrender. We are coming. Everyone stared. Park looked up. Earth knows. They knew before we did. Reyna nodded. And now they're sending help. But they didn't know how long that would take. The Nomad was still alone. And the silence between was just getting started. For 11 long days, the galaxy stared into the darkness of Sector 9. No signals came back. No ships returned. No outposts responded. What was once a busy region filled with trade routes, space stations, and patrols had suddenly gone completely silent. People across the stars whispered in fear. Something had happened, but no one knew what. Ships from multiple alien species had vanished without a trace. The Yexari sent 2 cruisers. Gone. The Trivon sent 5 scout ships. Gone. Even the Drelkan fleet, known for its advanced technology, failed to return. They all disappeared after entering Sector 9. Emergency beacons were sent into the area. Some reached the edge of the sector and vanished. Others never made it at all. Rescue teams were formed, but most refused to go. They had heard the silence. They had seen the darkness. The Galactic Council held emergency meetings. The room was filled with leaders of many races, all shouting, debating, afraid. But in the end, they gave the public a simple message. It's likely a technical malfunction in the sector's communication grid. Nothing more. But the people didn't believe it. And neither did Earth. Deep in space, far from the main routes, a hidden Earth station was watching. Their long-range sensors had picked up something. A faint, flickering signal. It was weak and strange, as if something was trying to hide. But the frequency was known. It was human. The signal came from an old ship, long retired from service. It was called the HSS Nomad, a small exploration vessel with no weapons and no advanced shields. Its systems were outdated, and its mission had been simple: deep space research. But now it was drifting straight toward Sector 9. The Nomad's crew was small. Only 7 people on board. They weren't soldiers. They weren't ready for war. But they were brave. And one of them had a reason to go. Commander Reyna Cole sat in the captain's chair, watching the dark edge of Sector 9 grow closer on her screen. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of fire. She had lost her younger brother, a science officer on one of the missing Drelkan ships. Everyone else had given up on him. But she hadn't. Her crew was nervous. Ensign Park checked the systems. For the 10th time, Engineer Malik complained about power levels. Even the AI, named Iris, suggested turning back. But Reyna refused. If there's even a chance someone's alive, she said, we go. The moment they crossed into Sector 9, the silence grew heavier. The stars themselves seemed dimmer. No signals. No sound. Just the soft hum of their ship moving forward into the unknown. Then something strange happened. The lights flickered. A cold wave moved through the corridors, though the temperature didn't change. And Iris, the AI, stuttered. I am sensing movement. But no source, Iris said. There is something wrong. Malik tried to scan the area, but the sensors only showed static. Then a shape appeared on the screen. It was distant, just a dark blur against the star field. But it wasn't a planet. It wasn't a ship. It was something else. They moved closer. Slowly, carefully. The shape grew clearer. It was wreckage, twisted metal, floating bodies, the remains of a Trevan cruiser torn apart from the inside. Cole felt her heart freeze. As they drifted past the wreckage, they saw more pieces of other ships, all mixed together. It looked like a graveyard, a silent battlefield with no signs of who or what had attacked. Suddenly, Iris picked up something, a short, broken signal. Audio only. It played through the speakers. It's here. It wears the stars. Run. The crew went silent. Park looked at Raina. What does that mean? I don't know, she answered quietly, but we're staying. Outside, the stars remained still. No movement, no light. But somewhere, something was watching. And the Nomad had just entered its hunting ground. The HSS Nomad drifted deeper into Sector 9, past floating wreckage and silent ships. Every piece of debris told a story. Stories of surprise attacks, fast destruction, and something no one understood. The crew didn't speak much. Fear had taken hold, quiet and heavy like the dark around them. Commander Raina Cole sat still in her chair, eyes locked on the view screen. More broken ships appeared, Ixari, Trevan, Drelkan, all torn from the inside. No blast marks, no signs of escape pods. It looked like something got in without being seen. Or heard. Engineer Malik's voice broke the silence. Ma'am, the engines. They're losing power. Raina turned. How? There's nothing wrong. I don't know, Malik said, confused. It's like something's draining the ship. Ensign Park checked the energy grid. We're being pulled, very slowly. I think it's not natural gravity. It feels more like pressure. Then the lights dimmed. Iris, the ship's AI, flickered on the screen. Her voice was calm but shaky. Warning, external field detected. Interference increasing. Recommend immediate. Course change. Raina stared into the black ahead. No, we're not leaving yet. Something's here. We need to know what it is. Just then, a shape moved across the screen. Fast, like a shadow crossing in front of a light. Everyone froze. What was that? Park asked, his hands shaking slightly. Rewind that frame, Raina ordered. They watched it again. It was blurry, hard to see. But the shape didn't look like a ship. It looked alive. The crew was silent. Could it be a life form? Malik whispered. Maybe, Raina said. But if it is, it's hunting. Suddenly, the ship jolted. Not from outside, but from inside. A deep, distant clang echoed through the hull. The crew looked at each other in shock. Is someone on board? Park asked, reaching for his sidearm. Iris scanned the corridors. No life signs, but the pressure inside the cargo bay just changed. Raina stood. We go together. No one. Alone. With flashlights and weapons ready, they moved toward the cargo bay. The hallway lights flickered again. The deeper they went, the colder it felt, though the temperature hadn't changed. It was something else. Something deeper. They reached the cargo bay doors, locked, but the system had been used just minutes ago, from the inside. Raina keyed in the code. The doors slid open with a hiss. At first, they saw nothing, just crates and shadows. Then Park pointed, there, behind the supply rack. They moved slowly, carefully, and then they saw it. Not a creature. Not a person. A message, carved into the metal wall, glowing faintly with strange energy. It said, "We are not alone. They wait in the quiet." The air shifted. Something moved. Again, outside the ship. A shadow passed the viewport. Reyna's voice was steady. "Back to the bridge, now." They returned to the command deck, but their systems were going crazy. Screens blinked. Alarms flickered. Iris's voice cut in and out. "They are watching." Outside, a shape began to form in the darkness. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a beast. It was something older, like a shadow made of stars. Huge, silent. It didn't attack. It just hovered there, waiting. Reyna whispered, "We didn't come to start a fight, but maybe we woke something ancient." And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Everything returned to normal. Power came back. Lights stabilized, but the message was clear. They were not alone, and whatever lived in the silence had just seen humanity for the first time.